Welcome to the Elevate Your Equity podcast, where we, as married busy professionals, leverage real estate investing to unlock the 3+1 degrees of freedom: health, location, time, and financial.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Elevate Your Equity podcast. And today we're going to be recapping the incredible conversation that we had with Art Morrison III. On that podcast, we talked a lot about mindset and branding and how you'd be able to basically pivot yourself into any brand that you perceive that you want to get into or that you have a curiosity in. And there is no silver bullet here, but we have some takeaways and we want to kind of run through all of those with you so we can walk through some of the gold nuggets together. The number one thing that I picked up from this conversation is that hunger and curiosity can change the entire trajectory of your life. Do what you can to find whatever that motivation is. And honestly, when talking with Art in there, he had given us his motivation, which was, he just said he wasn't going to lie. He said that it was money. And a lot of us, I know, that want to hear something like, changing the world or doing something like that. But being honest with yourself and knowing exactly what it is that's going to motivate you to go further, you got to go for it. You just got to set some goals around obtaining that and just making sure that you're going and heading towards that. Okay. Number two is be honest with yourself. And just like I said, if money and materialism motivates you, then just go for it. Number three, look at what you're going through and what you're overcoming. And what you think is a negative now is actually tomorrow's positive. So it reminds me a lot about the book called The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. And in there, he's saying that in order to become a bigger person, you have to find bigger obstacles, right? It's been a while since I've read that book, but to me, it makes sense. Whatever obstacles you end up encountering in life are the ones that you are going to end up overcoming, and then becoming the person that has overcome those. Then you have bigger obstacles in that direction. So you end up becoming who your obstacles are and who they encourage you and mold you to be. And the other thing that he mentioned to this point too is that you should be inspired by your own courage and your own tenacity. You should be inspired by the fact that you're facing your fears, right? And that you're overcoming something. And even if you're having a really big challenge right now, know in a bigger perspective that this is the natural part of growing. How do you know where your limits are if you're not encountering any resistance, right?
Right, absolutely. And so he's honest with himself. He knows what he wants. And like you said, there's no point in beating around the bush in terms of trying to sugarcoat what you want. The goal is right in front of you. You just go for it. And so I really, really appreciate that honesty.
As you're going through difficulties, be inspired that you're tackling difficulties, that you're simply not afraid of the challenges that are in your way. Because a lot of people, they'll look at the challenges and then they'll shrink away from the challenge. Instead, know that you're in the thick of it and that you're going through things. And as you're having difficulty, have grace with yourself. Look back and say, man, I actually have started to do some of this. It's really great that I'm making some progress in this. And so that's what he meant by that.
Yeah, that's so inspiring. And it's really wonderful to hear about people overcoming a lot of adversity and being able to rely on their own merit and to be able to just build this from the ground up and from scratch. Again, like I said, I really like the adversity and I really like the honesty around everything he's shooting for.
Yeah, definitely has an interesting way of relating to his adversity and his obstacles. And I think that that's something that's really inspiring. If you listen to the podcast, it really shows you how when someone leans into a problem, really you can solve almost anything out there. And so really, really inspiring podcast. Again, I highly recommend you go back and listen to it. Point number 4 is when building a brand, look at your competition and model what they do with your own twist on it, which can be very, very mild or very, very minor, right? And it's basic mimicry. You're basically looking for whatever the top thought leaders are doing and just copying and replicating that with your own spin on it. And I think that that's a really interesting takeaway because, as growing up as kids, we're taught not to copy, do our own work. And, it's cheating if you end up taking someone else's work and making it your own. Well, in real life out here in the real world, it actually is something that helps get things done quicker. Generally, most innovations and most personal growth or models are exactly that, just models where You're taking someone else's thing and you're modifying a little bit and making it work to your personality. So I think that was really, really cool message. And you can do that all the way down to the granular level. If you want to produce a podcast, well, find some successful podcast producers and do what they do. If you're looking for a newsletter campaign, then go get some great newsletters and see what they do and put your own twist on it. So really great stuff there. Really good reminder.
And it sounds like in turn too, it may feel like copying or mimicking, but because you're doing it, there's the originality there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much information out there. People honestly may not even recognize that you're copying, as long as you're not copying word for word or just making blatant outright, plagiarism. So don't be doing that, but still it's a really great lesson there. Number 5, which was huge for me, was the secret to branding is confidence. If you can start anywhere and mimic, have faith that you'll deliver. You'll definitely need to connect, put messages out there, work hard. But really, the best branding and marketing is truly believing in yourself, honestly, because you could literally take someone else's message. And if you believe in you, right, then the whole world will as well. That's just a natural thing. People end up looking at you and saying, oh my gosh, you're expanding so much. This guy knows what he's talking about. And as long as you have that confidence in there, right, where maybe, I don't want to say fake it till you make it, but you're putting the energy out there, people are going to believe you and you're going to step into that space. So really, like, no matter what it is that you want to do in life, you mimic, you find someone so that the outward vision looks like you know what you're talking about, right? And over time, trust that you actually will know what you're talking about, because it's going to put you in situations where you're going to need to be challenged and need to step up to the plate to do it. So as long as you're that person that you know you can step up to the plate, then just take that leap of faith. Just do it. This was something that I learned really early on in a way that I didn't even realize, but taking a leap of faith and leaving my full-time job has been the best thing that's happened to me. And that only took the confidence to be able to brand ourselves and get ready to jump into that. I didn't know what I was facing, but it ended up being the best thing that ever happened. So if you believe in yourself, the outside world will as well.
Well said. And I love that the best branding and marketing is believing in yourself, because really at the end of the day, all you have is yourself.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Awesome. And then number 6, identify and destroy your self-limiting beliefs. This is what's truly holding you back. So surround yourself around people who can shine a light on these self-limiting beliefs. Consider that there are people out there who are doing what you fear now. So why not be you, right? Like, there's people out there that are doing all these incredible things. And sometimes we think that we're not those individuals, but why not you? Why not? Mm-hmm. So identifying those limiting beliefs that tell you that you cannot be that person, there always is a reason. And if you have the fortunate situation of having an incredible wife like I do, or spouse, then they can help identify those negative patterns and say, is that belief really true? And what is it rooted on? And then it leads to some incredible conversations about what's truly possible. And then once you have that, you're basically able to take off, and there's really no limits to what you can do.
Absolutely agree. And sometimes the limiting beliefs can start when you're young, and they may be adopted and without your permission. And so as you get older, it's really up to us to challenge what those are and to, read books, go to personal development classes, and really find that awareness around where those came from so that we can really interrupt those patterns.
Yeah, one thing that I would add on to what Sophie said, which was great, is that you can read biographies of incredible people. The one biography that's sticking out to me right now is David Goggins, and then John Adams. Some incredible people that have lived in the past, Thomas Edison, amazing people that have done incredible stuff, right? That makes you look like, well, geez, like, this is crazy. If you take the inspiration from them and see what the human person is capable of, then it makes you wonder, if you're in the right frame of mind, what you're capable of too. All right, number 7, do the next thing that comes to your mind that leads to your happiness personally, and then your success business-wise. Whatever the next thing that comes to your mind will end up happening after that, okay? So if you're successful and happy in your personal life, then naturally you're going to have business in your business life, because the two feed off of each other and they work with one another. And so we've been finding that to also be the case as well. We have success in business, then we have success in personal, and then vice versa. They kind of feed back and forth, and it's just the energy of life and the ebb and flow. Mm-hmm.
But it goes back to that quote, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And it's really hard to compartmentalize who you are. And so, like Derek said, if you're happy in your personal life, then that success will ripple effect and go back and forth. And so I think going back to what you said earlier, being honest with yourself and making sure that you lean on your own experiences to help you move forward, that's probably going to help you be happier and create that foundation that will take you forward longer.
Yeah, the sustainability piece is really big, and bringing that into the personal life and then having it feed into the business, vice versa. That's really what it's all about. Basically, like rewarding yourself, celebrating yourself, allowing yourself to rest, which I know that Sophie can tell me I need to do more often. That type of thing will really help out in both sides of the life, right? And so you got to make sure that you're balanced there to make sure that they're feeding each other and becoming a bigger person in general. All right, last thing that I have to share with you guys is number 8, which is if you need to, and this was kind of like something that caught me a little bit by surprise, use your own scarcity as a motivating factor. Just get moving and start taking action. If you realize that you're actually being scarce, right? Or you're realizing that if you don't do something right now, then you're going to lose out, go ahead and embrace that. Just use that to take action. Whatever it is that you need to do to motivate yourself to just get moving and keep moving forward. That's what we recommend, or at least that's what Art recommends. And I think that that's been very true for us, especially back in 2015, when we thought that the end of the real estate market was around the corner. We were pushing because we were just feeling so scarce that if we don't get something, we're just not going to be able to make any progress in real estate at all. And obviously that wasn't the case. And we started to shift our scarce thinking over to abundant. But back in the early days, using that scarcity factor as a motivating impetus to do something and take action is really incredible. And so that was really great advice there.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it ties back into being inspired by your own courage and tenacity. And it's funny, I've never heard of using scarcity as a motivating factor. Scarcity is always something to like suppress and to beat down, but this is really nice to reframe it and to put it into a context of using it as a positive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that we've had scarcity in our relationship as well, but man, we've been able to really work through a lot of that. I know it's been a lot of hard work and it took a lot of energy and attention to do that, but it is worth it. And so if you can just identify what it is that needs to happen in order to take action, then that's great too. So please do use that as well. That was the best top takeaways that I could get from Art Morrison's conversation. And there was a lot. And this was one of those really great episodes where we learned so much about real estate investing from someone who wasn't in it naturally from the beginning and really grew through the NBA or through professional basketball out in Europe, and did a great job at everything. And so we really encourage you to listen in on that one. And if you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and comment, engage with us wherever you're watching or listening with this. We'd really appreciate that. And keep in mind too, that we also have an open Facebook mastermind group that meets every week. And we talk about all these incredible topics for real estate and business growth and personal development and things that you need to just like juice up your mindset. And we invite anyone to come in. It's an open forum, and we meet every week, and we want to see you there on the Elevate Equity Tribe Facebook group. So we hope that we will see you there. But until next time, this is Derek.
And this is Sophie.
And we are signing off. We'll see you next week.